In the next step, we will set up a new virtual machine in VM VirtualBox Manager. To set up a new virtual machine, we use the New button, and we provide our new virtual machine with a name. In our case, this will be Fedora Workstation. Make sure the type and the version is correctly recognized by the system. Also, the bit version should be the same as your system. In our case, Fedora 64-bit. In the next step, we can allocate some memory to the virtual machine. This memory will be shared between the virtual machine and your desktop or laptop environment. Here you can see the amount of memory space that I have available. We will find some intermediate volume to assign to the virtual machine. Let's say I have 32 gigabytes available, and I will assign 16 gigabytes of RAM memory to the virtual machine. If you have 16 gigabytes available, 8 gigabytes is a good idea, or if you only have 8 gigabytes of RAM available in your system, then 4 gigabytes is a good value to assign to the virtual machine. In the next step, we can create a new virtual hard drive on which we will install Fedora. We choose the default hard disk file type, and next we select to dynamically allocate our hard disk. This means that the size of this virtual hard drive will increase as the files that you store inside that hard drive will also increase. When you select a fixed size, the size will always be the same independent of the content of your virtual hard drive. By default, 8 gigabytes of disk space is assigned to this virtual hard drive. For the Advanced Bachelor of Bioinformatics course at HO West, we specify that we need at least 30, but preferably 50 gigabytes of hard drive available. A new virtual machine is created with default settings. In the next step, we will have a look at some advanced settings that are required to have a functional virtual machine. Therefore, we make sure that the Fedora Workstation is selected, and we go to the Settings tab. In the Settings tab, we will review the different settings that are available. We will start with General Settings, like Advanced. We will set up a shared clipboard later. We can have a look at Description and Encryption. Next, we go to the System, and the system contains the information, for example, about the memory that was assigned, also on processors, where we can extend this to the end of the green zone, also to acceleration. But there are some default settings that we need to change in the motherboard, and this is, for example, the boot order. The first time that we boot, we want the system to boot from the optical drive. The floppy drive we will not need. The second time that we boot, we want the system to boot from the hard drive. Because the hard drive is empty the first time, we can set this as the first option to boot. The system will try to boot from the hard drive, which is empty, and will then switch to the second one, which is the optical drive, which will contain the image for our virtual machine for our Fedora Linux distribution. The second time that we boot, and after we have installed Fedora, the first option will contain Fedora installed on the hard drive, and we will be able to boot from the hard drive. In the display settings, we will extend the video memory that is assigned. We only need one monitor to be used. On the storage side, we will see that we have a virtual disk available, an optical drive available, and here we will actually assign the ISO image of Fedora that we downloaded before. We select Choose a disk file, and then we will browse to the disk file. So we browse to the ISO image of our Fedora Workstation. With audio, no settings need to be changed. With network, this is the same. Serial ports, USB, shared folders we will set up later, and then we select OK. And now our virtual machine is ready to boot for the first time.